Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good meeting host.
Good. Hey, that picture that, the picture that of you, um, that before you get here,
Yeah.
where's that picture from, or when is it from?
Oh, it's from probably maybe 5 years ago
Uh-huh, yeah.
when I was younger.
Well, yeah, but we were all younger 5 years ago.
5 years ago?
Yes. Um, but
True.
anyway, I just don't remember you having hair that short
No,
or, but
I
y-
did forever, for a
yeah,
really long
really?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yes.
I
Yeah.
know. It's funny. Now I'm
Oh,
no long hair.
so let's see. So in my video's not showing. Okay, there we go.
There you
So
are.
this is the town's account. Um, so so we use the town's account. If the town has two accounts and the library has its own account, and we use the town's account if it's available, because then the meeting recording automatically goes to them. And if we use my account, then I have to send the meeting recording to them. So it's one more step. Anywhere we can save a step is good for me. So,
So,
because
so
it's a
is,
step for me
yeah,
and a step for the
I
town.
see. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
definitely. Yeah,
yeah.
I just finished reading your job description, and I'm like, that there's a lot of steps. I mean,
There are,
if you
yeah.
broke that down to steps, forget it.
Yes. Yeah, no, there really are. And it's fine. And every once in a while I go, okay, I can't possibly do one more thing.
Right.
And then and I should never say that out loud, because then I'm doing some other big thing, but it's okay. Like I do it all,
Oh,
it's
I
kind
know.
things are kind of messy, but I think there's a lot happening. So
Yeah, there is. And
yeah.
it's pretty impressive. We'll talk about it.
Okay. Hi, Brad.
Hi,
Hi.
Brad.
So have I asked you? So I have been having a lot of luck getting people vaccine appointments. Um, have I asked you if you've had an appointment, or if you
I don't
want,
remember
or
if
if you
we've talked about it.
qualify for appointments?
I do qualify,
Yeah,
and I got my first, and the
you
second
did.
one is in a week.
Okay, good. All right. And how about you, Michelle?
I'm all set.
You're all set. Okay,
Yeah.
good, good. All right. So, because I have pointers. And I've either coached people through doing it on their own, or for some people, well, for my family members, I just make their appointments. But then for a couple of senior citizens in Shutesbury, I've made appointments for them. And then I print out the forms for them. I just make it easy, because it's complicated doing it all online if you're not a computer person. So, um, anyway, but I'm running out of people. So the people that are eligible that I know have had their shots or have appointments. So that's good. It just means that we'll be able to go on to the next phase. Um, so, which I think is supermarket and restaurant employees, I think are next. Um, and supermarkets are busy places.
Yeah.
So,
It's fascinating to see the progress of the
yeah,
vaccine.
yeah, it really is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Barbara works for a hospice,
Mhm.
coordinates volunteers, and they're like
Fisher House?
staff. And so she was going through the same thing you were, as the coordinator of all these people
Yes,
trying to,
yes,
oh,
right.
try this, try
Uh-huh.
that.
Yeah. Does she work at Fisher House?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What's her name?
Barbara, Barbara Russell.
Barbara Russell. No, my mom was just there. They're fantastic. Yeah, totally fantastic. I was never so grateful in my life.
How long was she there? Michelle?
One day.
One day.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I had booked it for a month,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
she only lasted one day,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
good. You know, at that point, you want it to be not lingering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how old was she?
92.
92. Yeah. So she lived a long
She lived a
life.
long life.
Yes.
She lived a long, good
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
and she had a lot of children. Yeah.
My dad needed hospice care when he was failing, but there wasn't anyone.
Yeah, I know. I
Lived in a
can't
part of
imagine.
Washington State where, you know, we could have taken him an hour or so away, and I'm sure we would have found something. But in his area, just nothing.
Wow. We're lucky. I mean, I felt so fortunate because when I called, you know, it was a busy time because it is a busy time for them because nobody wants to bring anybody to a rehab or a nursing home. So it's kind of like, do we qualify? I mean, because it's like so, you know, good. And I just they just happen to have a bed, and it was, you know, he slipped in, and I was so grateful because, you know, the hospital was pretty nightmarish. They just don't do anything, you know, they don't do that, you know, and so she had fallen and they did what they could, and then they were just like, you got to take her home. And I'm like, no way. And it was crazy, but it worked out very well in the end. So tell Barbara I said it's a fantastic, she knows how fantastic it is, probably, but tell her I said that. I don't think I met her.
She's mostly working from home, doing
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Mhm. Where's everybody? Oh, it's only 7:31.
Yeah. It's only 7.
No, it's only 7:30 actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're waiting for Kate and Melanie, right? Is that
Right.
everybody? Yeah.
But
Right.
there's Michelle. I didn't see you here. I didn't even know you were
I
here. Hi,
slept
Michelle.
on while you were talking.
So if you change it, do you
Then-
have it on gallery view, Michelle?
No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
do
I
have it
do.
on gallery, but I
Okay.
also don't have it on full screen because I need the
Okay.
rest of my screen to do.
Okay. All right. There's Savannah. Hi, Savannah.
Hi. So strange. We haven't all seen each other in person in so long. I've seen Marianne only because I picked up something at the library, but I haven't seen any of the rest of you.
I came to the
How do I look?
Everybody looks great. It's just like, it's just so odd to like think that it's been almost a year now, you know?
It
Just
has been a
kidding.
year.
Yeah, I couldn't
It
remember
has.
when we met
Yeah.
last year. Did we leave
Yes.
meet like after everything shut down right away? Or?
So we had a meeting on in April, or no, we met on Monday, March 16th online,
Okay, that was our
and
first
we
time. Okay.
used GoToMeeting.
Mhm.
We did not meet in person.
Yeah, so it has been a year. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a long time.
Yeah. And yeah, it has. It's been a year. Yep. This
do
was the
these-
day I had sent out an announcement saying Monday, March 16th would be our last day that the library was open. And it was so busy.
Mhm.
And you know, it was just like, it was so busy. And who would have thought that this would go
I
on
know.
this long, you know?
It's true. When the superintendent closed the Amherst schools on the Friday the 13th, it was for 2 weeks, and then it was another 2 weeks. And look, only preschool through grade 1 are back, and they just went back a week ago. And 1 week in October, that was it. So, okay, they're here, but we don't have their pictures, but they are
Yeah,
here.
they're coming.
Oh, here they are. Hi. Hi, Melanie.
Hi,
There's
I'm
Kate.
sorry to
Hi,
be late,
Kate.
y'all.
No problem. We're
Okay,
just
sorry I'm late. I couldn't get
we're
it
just
together.
chit-chatting about how we haven't seen each other in a year. It's just so strange. It's all been by screen.
Yep.
anyway,
But thank goodness for Zoom.
yeah.
I
Oh,
know.
next blessing as I log into my, I think, day
I
off.
bet, I bet.
I know.
I finally had to learn how to use Zoom because I'd only used Google Meeting, but working for the collaborative, they, most of the districts that, well, the two districts I'm working with, they were blocked from Google, like I was blocked from Zoom and Amherst. So I had to learn how to use it. And it's not quite as easy as Google Meeting, I don't think. But
Oh,
anyway,
it's so interesting because Shutesbury Elementary School uses Google Meet, and I've gone and met with classrooms here. I've done a couple of things with classrooms, and
Mhm.
and they'll give me control of the screen if I'm giving a presentation,
Mhm.
and I don't know how to do it. It's
Yeah,
like,
I don't know how to share my screen in
Yes.
Zoom. Today I was in
Yes.
a meeting and I didn't know how to share it and they couldn't
Yeah. Right.
access it, probably because it's under the collaborative, but anyway.
So if you share your screen in Zoom and then you manipulate the screen, like if I share my screen in Zoom, I feel like I can do more without doing extra steps, wherein Google Meet, I had to keep going back and resharing, but it's fine. It's for some reason, that's what the school wants to use. So
Yeah.
you just get used to the system you use.
I wonder if they use it because the Amherst Public Schools do, and it would make it easier. I don't know. Anyway, so we
All
have
right.
a lot on our agenda. We probably won't finish with everything tonight, like the big, huge job description, but anyway. So we need to review the minutes. And I read Mary Ann's report. I guess we could just leave it that if anybody has questions, did everybody have a chance to read it?
Yes.
And then we need to talk about the fact that Kate and Michelle are both up for re-election. Nomination papers are due when, Mary Ann? Or Kate?
April 27th.
Okay.
Mine are in.
Okay,
Awesome.
great.
Thank you, Kate.
That was handy for it to be at the tax sale because I was able to sign it. And then the big bulk of the work tonight is to start to look at the job description for the library director. And Melanie and Mary Ann and I met twice for a good hour or so. So we've already worked on it a bit, but it was like ready for somebody else to look at it. Okay, we'll start with the minutes. Did anybody have any, Michelle, do you want to read the Zoom thing that you have to read every
I
time?
don't have it. I can't find it. I'm on
Okay,
my
Oh,
laptop.
so that's okay. All right. So this meeting is online because we're in the middle of a COVID-19 pandemic, and the records will be kept, the recording will be kept on file by the town clerk and people can watch it. And Michelle will also post written minutes.
Great. Okay, good. That's great. I was about to read it from the minutes.
Okay. I think what I said is close enough.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. Okay, anybody have any corrections or comments about the minutes from January? Because we didn't meet in February.
I have a comment.
Yep.
Or more like a question about something that got raised. We talked about the expendable trust, and we were concerned about the interest level, and I didn't know whether we'd found, I can't remember who was going to look that up to try to
Right.
find out.
Oh,
Yeah, that was actually listed as something for this meeting, but it was on the end of the minutes, so it didn't make the other agenda. Did you have a chance to check that out or no?
I did. I'll find the answer to that question.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Beyond that, I move that we approve the minutes.
Second.
So does that mean, do you want me to change anything on the minutes?
No. I
Fred,
didn't.
no. Okay. All right. I'll second. Can I do that if I wrote them?
I did that already.
Yeah.
Okay.
All in favor then? All in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Okay, the minutes are passed. Okay.
Michelle,
Good.
can I express appreciation for the way that you captured our appreciation for Mary Ann? I really liked that. I thought it was very graceful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All from the heart. True.
It's true. We had a lot of kudos because that end report was awesome. It really showed all of the things that Mary Ann did during this pandemic to keep the library open and to help our patrons and without complaint or anything. So let's see. For your director's report, I did have a couple of questions, Mary Ann. Anybody else?
Okay.
So when it was about that Ancestry for Libraries subscription, so when you say
Uh-huh.
that it's usually limits access to site usage, so are you saying that people have to come to the parking lot and use that Wi-Fi?
Yes, so normally that's the license with Ancestry. So Ancestry wants people to buy their own account. But they sell a very expensive library version and you have to use it on site. But people will be able to use it and that's part of, well, there are two reasons why I've never subscribed. It's $1,500 for a year
Mhm.
and it was limited to on site. But there's a lot of interest in genealogy. And this distance learning grant was available and I had submitted a fitness programming grant in the first round and didn't get it. So I didn't want to try that again. And I really don't need money for fitness programming. Right now I have a lot of other sources. Um, but there's been more genealogy research going on during the pandemic, I think, because people have had time, maybe. So I thought it was a good time to give it a try. And I knew that they were allowing remote access at least for a little while. So Shutesbury residents, that's the other thing, is it's limited to your own residents. Anybody can come to our parking lot and use it, but only
Okay,
Shutesbury residents can use it remotely.
okay.
Um,
That
and
wasn't, that's why I asked, because I wasn't really clear
Right.
in your
And then I
report, so.
also knew that, so Shutesbury residents in the past could go to the Jones Library and do ancestry research there,
Mhm.
but Shutesbury residents can't use the Jones Library's remote ancestry account.
Okay,
So it was free money. It was a way to do an experiment and see what would happen if we had an ancestry account. And maybe they will extend the remote access beyond the end of June. Maybe they won't, but we'll be able to look at the data to say when we had remote access, this many people used it. When we didn't have remote access, this many people used it. So it doesn't make sense for us to subscribe again. Or maybe we'll find that it does make sense for us to subscribe. And then it seemed like it would be fun to have some genealogy focused Zoom programs. So we'll do that. And then I'm going to buy a handful of genealogy books. And it's $2,400. It's not a huge
mhm.
grant. And the highest amount that the grants could be was $3,500. And the people who do interesting genealogy workshops don't charge a lot of money.
Oh, nice.
So this little bit of money, I think, can stretch pretty far. And we've gotten a really good response to it. And as of the other day, there had been 158 ancestry searches.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and I I renewed a library card that had been inactive for years and I issued a new library card. So, anytime we add something new, we engage somebody new, or re-engage somebody from the past. So,
Is it-
so
what-
it's been good.
Mary,
So
is-
I'm gonna add then, it says on-site usage can be accessed via Wi-Fi, and is it okay if I add at the library or in the parking lot?
Yes,
And then I'm saying this is a very popular program.
sure.
I added that, okay.
Well, it's just not clear in your report, though, that that it can be used remotely by Shutesbury residents, so that's why I
It
asked.
says it
Okay.
though. It says that remote access is available to Shutesbury patrons with the
Oh,
library.
sorry, okay.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, I think Savannah and both Melanie had a question, so
Go
Savannah, you
ahead,
want to go first?
Melanie. Go ahead, Melanie.
Oh, I had a couple questions. First of all, congratulations on the grant. So the library ancestry for libraries is $1,500. So is the rest of the money being spent on books?
No, so most of the rest of the money is being spent on Zoom programs with.
Oh,
you know,
right. The
genealogy
the
presentation.
genealogy expert people.
We're having genealogy 101. We're having
Got
a
it.
Polish genealogy. We're having a Jewish genealogy program. We're having
Got
a
it.
genealogy. They're not all in the calendar yet. We're doing one on New England genealogy and then maybe one on Irish and Scottish. So yeah, and it was, some of it was based on what I found available, the demographics of the area, what I saw people doing research on, so all of those different things.
Nice.
All right.
So
So
my other, oh, sorry.
just let me cut in here. So I just added online genealogy presentations and Zoom programs to clarify
Okay.
that. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Marion, I
So-
just wanted to ask how is it accessible? How do you get to it?
So there's a reference tab on our website.
Uh-huh.
And if you click on that reference tab, then I think Ancestry is the top. I also cleaned up that reference page on the website. But Ancestry is right there on the top of the reference page. And then you just click
Excellent.
on it. Yeah. And you do have to put in your library card number and your password. Okay.
I'm very excited about this.
Good.
Great.
Awesome. Good.
Okay, I
Use it
added
a
that
lot
access
now
piece.
in June. So, yes.
I had a couple other questions about the spring spruce ups and the
Library
signs.
Giving Day. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So how do I mean, I know that I guess I should know how to do that because I'm the liaison with the friends. I should know how to connect with that. But I kind
you
of feel like I
you
don't, and I
just
don't know
send me an
why.
email and say, so if you want to help with spring spruce ups, did Susie send you an email?
I don't remember getting an email, but I can look because I get a
Okay.
ton of emails, so I may have just missed it.
All right. Okay. So if you want to help with spring spruce ups, email Susie.
Okay.
And if you want to help with Library Giving Day, email me.
Okay.
Okay.
I will do
All
that.
right.
I would like to help
All
with
right.
Library Giving Day,
Okay.
but I will email
right.
you to say that.
Thank you.
In
All
writing.
righty. That's wonderful. Very good.
And,
Don't worry, I won't forget.
Okay. And the final thing real quick is that my brother's book is out April 15th, and he said that he would do a talk. So
Okay.
whenever, if you want to
Okay.
wait till we can go live, that's like be in person, that's fine. He's also
No,
willing
let's
to do a
not
Zoom.
do that. Let's do it on Zoom.
Okay, and he actually has
yeah.
two books that he's, one that already came out about Charles Darwin that just came out last month, and then he's got this new book coming out April 15th.
What's the
Okay.
new
People
one?
would be really interested.
What's the new one?
The new one is called oh shit, I should remember that.
I think I have it
Something
ordered.
about walking.
Something about walking.
Walking
It's a-
somewhere
he's a
somehow.
psychologist, isn't he?
My
Or
brother
is-
would kill me. He'd be like, Melanie, what the hell? It's called First Steps, How Upright Walking Made Us Human.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep.
That does sound interesting.
Yeah, and he's a great speaker. He's not like even though he's a professor from Dartmouth, he's not like snobby or anything. Which a lot of them are. To be truthful, the stereotype is very true with a lot of them. But he's very approachable, and he explains science in a way that people can understand, and there are no dumb questions, and he's all about like teaching and helping people learn. And
What's his
so
name?
his name's Jerry De Silva.
Jerry?
Yep. And it's Desilva. He's just a super nice guy. And I asked him, I was like, will you come in? He was like, yeah, I'll do it. Sure, I'll do a talk.
Oh.
No, so on both books?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, he's my little brother. If I tell him to do 2 talks, he'll do 2 talks.
All right, I won't put the title into the minute. So do you want me to?
I don't
Or-
think that's
Yeah,
important.
I already forgot them. I just
Yeah,
said
it's
it.
fine.
Marianne, you know that little addendum you sent afterward with the
Yes.
list? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna add that to the bottom of the director report, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Are there any
good.
more questions on the first part, or do we want to just jump in and ask any questions about the addendum? Because
Oh, I don't
I
have any
just
questions.
had
Yeah,
one
go
thing
ahead.
I wanted to say about the director's report, which is the very first part, the number of participants. It's reading oddly to me. I know exactly what you mean, but we didn't actually, I don't think, have 2,500 different people.
Right. So,
I know. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yes,
okay,
I know. So how do we, you know what, maybe I need to sort of say this represents, I could count the number of people in each class. There's definitely some overlap.
yeah.
You know,
How about over 2,000? Is that
well,
true?
yeah,
well, Marianne, when you report this to the grant, right? How do they want you to report
they
it?
want that number.
Oh, they do.
So, well,
Yeah,
this is,
I
so when
agree.
so this
I know
is,
what you mean,
yeah.
Kate. It is awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, see, that's the number. And so when I think about this data, and oh my God, I was thinking about this data earlier today, and I was like, oh my God, I can only think about data in this sort of state and federal reporting way. I was like
Mhm.
laughing at myself. I forget what it even was, you know, but
Mhm.
I can tell you what we do for data
Yeah.
like this.
okay.
We do like person classes or person hours in class.
Uh,
So if the class, if each class is an hour long, that's how many person class hours were used. But if this is how the grant reporting wants it, then we can leave it as it is.
Right. But I could say next month, I could go back and look at the data, and I could say, you know, I could do another chart just for us and for, in case anybody in the town ever looked at this. And it could say, you know, strength training, there are 50 people. And Zumba, there are 12 people, you know.
Yeah,
I
that
could
would be
do,
great.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
not worth the big investment of your time.
No,
either.
but it wouldn't take, that wouldn't take long, because so for each class, I make a Google contact list.
Okay.
So I could
have it,
just say
have to
the
total
number
it.
of people on the
Okay.
list.
That's
Yeah,
cool. All right, great.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
okay, yeah,
Okay. Or, even calling it regular participants or something like that
Right,
when you do
right.
it for next month, that might work.
Yeah, yes,
Or,
okay,
or an average of number of participants per class or
Right.
something like that.
I
As
could
long as
do something like
I agree with
that.
Kate though, as long as it's not too much work, if you have an idea.
No, I mean, I have a whole, I made a whole Excel spreadsheet. That's why I did this, because I want to try and keep track of, I want to see if there's a way to keep track of the statistics so that I don't spend an entire week gathering statistics when the reports are due.
Yeah.
Um, and nobody has figured this out yet, you know, because there are so many different pieces of it. But and you know, and I also just wanted to sort of look at it, and I could definitely do an average, you know, the average number of participants per class. I can present this in so many different ways. So, but this is the way the grant reporters want it. So the grant reports, these are the way they ask for them.
Yeah, I thought that's what I recalled from before.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we want to go ahead and approve these then with the clarifications that were made? There's no changes or anything, it's just approving them that we discussed it.
Well,
Somebody
I
wanna
made
make
a couple
motion?
of change. I added a couple of things, but it's not really changes because
No,
this is the
it's
director
just
report.
clarifying
Yeah.
it, so, yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
do approve as a matter of form, I guess. So,
Yeah, we do,
Yeah.
yeah.
so I make a motion that we approve as amended.
Okay,
Second,
aye,
Aye.
all in favor? Okay, cool. All right, and then, the last thing is this most of this stuff to talk about next month, Marianne, this sort of addendum to your report?
Well, no, because I was thinking, so first of all, I don't feel any pressure from the community, to wanting to come in. Before we opened the last time, before I started letting people come in, I felt a lot of pressure from the community to let people in. And then now people are saying things like, we so appreciated that you let us in. We totally understand your concerns and why you stopped. And we look forward to the time when we come in there. Just so I don't feel pressure from the community. I do notice the governor opening things up. Um, and so I feel pressure from myself to let people come in. And so, and the people who did come in, it was a really wonderful, positive experience for them. The people who want to come in are not the people that are vaccinated. It's mostly young families that want to use the library. Um, and so I have until so the CDC says I'm immune for 90 days. So I have until March 21st. And, and then they make no promises about my immunity. But I never really felt like I was in danger. I felt like I was because I feel like I'm sitting there all day shedding virus. I was potentially creating a dangerous situation. That's how I felt. But I live a pretty small life. And now my family members are or will be fully vaccinated. My daughter's fully vaccinated and my husband's about to be fully vaccinated. So I won't feel like the people I live with create a danger. Um, so I feel like we can let people in again. I have to tidy up and put everything away, and do a cleaning once again. But I feel like if I'm gonna let people in, the last time I wanted it to either be in-person visits or curbside pickup and not both, but there was a lot of demand for both, but I'm gonna stick to my guns, and say it's in-person visit time. There are no curbside pickups. And then, and so anyway, so I'm watching the numbers. I'm seeing that percent positivity rate really go down. I'm seeing sort of statewide demand for opening up. I don't feel like I present a danger anymore. And I feel like there are people who would really love the opportunity to come in, even though they're being incredibly lovely and gracious about not being able to come in. So, I'm thinking around the first or second week of April, we could try a couple of in-person visit days again. And that gives us a couple more weeks to watch the numbers and see if they stay low.
Whatever you think is best, as far as I'm concerned, I guess, if you feel okay with that. So you're not considered like, would you be, I mean, I know things have changed, and I thought originally essential workers, which I thought maybe you might be, would be getting shots sooner, but it sounds like because they've moved all the educators kind of ahead of other people. Do you know where like someone like yourself would fit in?
General public.
Yeah.
So I, I can't even, I was like, oh, I smoked a long time ago. And I think former smokers count as smokers, but I had COVID. I survived it. So I don't feel like I can call that a pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
So, but I think by the end of May, a lot of us are going to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
So
hopefully.
yeah. So we're talking about a few hours a day, a couple of days a week. Me masked and wearing a face shield behind the plexiglass. Anybody who comes in is wearing a mask. And the numbers have really dropped down lower, and we'll give it a couple more weeks to see if it's going to stay that way, as things open up a little more. Frankly, I feel like I'm in more danger every time I go to the post office than I would be in the library. So,
Okay. Any other questions or comments then?
Michelle's trying to say something, but she's
Oh.
muted.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Unmute yourself, yeah.
Brian. You're not on. There you go.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just like, so I'm kind of confused about the whole vaccine thing and why it is contingent on that. Because my understanding is that the vaccine doesn't make anybody immune, and it doesn't mean you're not going to get COVID.
Well, most of them are 94 to 95% effective, so that's pretty darn
Not
good.
about, it's not about making you immune to the disease.
No,
Doesn't
it's
provide
about,
immunity.
it's making you not get a serious case.
Right.
Right.
So it really isn't essential that people be vaccinated in order for you to open.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, except that the vaccines will slow the spread of the illness.
I don't know if that's true, but it might be.
Yeah,
I haven't read
I
that.
think that's what they're saying. All right, well,
Okay.
we should move on to the last thing then. Are there any other questions about that last section, that addendum? No? Okay.
I guess I would just say, as long as people are wearing good masks, I mean, that's really the bottom line. Because, it's the most effective thing, really.
Right.
Look at, I mean, there's no flu. There hasn't been any flu this flu season. So,
Mhm.
people have been wearing
Yes.
masks.
Right.
Masks plus the fact that we added the ventilation, improved the ventilation.
Right. Right. And in a couple of weeks, it'll be warmer and I can leave the door open some of the time.
Right. Okay, so when we move on then, before we go to the job description though, Michelle, do you need more signatures on your what do you call it? Nomination
No,
papers?
I'm going to, this is my last session of being a trustee.
Oh, it is? Oh, I didn't know that.
Well,
Oh.
I'm just announcing it now.
Okay, okay.
Aw. Does that mean, what does that mean? Besides
means-
a Zoom party for you? To thank you, does that mean we have to recruit another
Yes.
person to run? Okay. Oh, I'm sad to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that too.
It's
I
been a
tried
really good
showering her with
experience.
compliments.
I'm retiring.
Nobody in the world takes better minutes than you do.
Oh,
No,
God, thank you.
nobody.
But there might be someone, you never know.
Okay.
I'll see what I can come up with for a
Thank
nominee.
you, Michelle. Thank you so much. So
Okay.
you've done it. Have you done it for 3 terms or 2 terms?
I think it's 2.
2.
What
Okay.
would that bring us to
6
2015?
years. Yeah.
Is that 6? Yeah,
Yeah.
2015. So I think it was then. I don't think it was before that. It could have been, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I've
Oh.
only run twice.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All righty.
Okay, well, at least we have you for a few more months.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so we need to start looking at the job description. Melanie, do you want to say anything? Melanie was like the chief organizer here and chief scribe and everything, so.
Sure. So we looked at some library director position descriptions from some other libraries in Massachusetts. We also, Marianne provided an outstanding draft that we were able to work from. And then we wrote this, and the goal was to have it not be as long. But the reality is that Marianne does so much, and it seemed like it was very important to make sure that everything was included. There was nothing that seemed like we could exclude it, because it was vital to the position. Not just what she does in the position, but also the position moving forward. When she finally does, and she's been talking about this, retire, and we have to hire a new person, that it's, really important that they understand the scope of the position. And in addition, that, when people say, gee, what does the librarian do? Why are we paying so much for this? Or don't librarians just like stamp the book and that's it? That we can be like, oh, you want to see what she does? Look at this. Like, she does all of this. Like, she's out there shoveling, and she's out there fixing the HVAC system, and she's out there like, doing all of this critical and high level work. So that's what that's why we, wrote it the way we wrote it. It was, a really impressive team effort from, the three of us who, met twice, worked, offline, and, got this into shape. And it's pretty consistent with, what we've seen from other towns as well, in terms of like the scope and, the detail and whatnot, even though every town's description is a little different. There isn't like consistency among them, but we kind of tried to take the best of, different position descriptions.
I think the other thing we were trying to do is make sure that people understood that the professionalism of this particular position and
Absolutely
the scope of the leadership that's involved. So that's partly why that's first too, because we felt like that's really
correct. And that's so
piece.
critical. Like words like oversees, leads, manages, these kind of key words that tend to be really important, so that, when this position is graded, and hopefully, we can get, Marianne a higher salary, that there's, that it's really understood that this is a professional library director position.
So did anybody have a chance to look at it beforehand? Because I thought if you did, I mean, I think it makes sense to go section by section, I think, just because would be the most efficient way to do it. Who has had a chance to read it? Can you raise your hand? Bunch of you did? Okay, excellent. Okay. Does that make sense to go section by section for feedback?
Can I
have a
just say
question.
one overall, oh, sorry, Brad. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brad.
I had a number of things that were really just minor editing that don't impact the content. Should I just mark them up and send them to somebody? I'm not sure we need to discuss them. And who?
Okay.
To Marianne?
Yeah, just send it to me and then
Okay.
okay.
We also had it on Google Drive. That's how we did some of the comments, was by sharing it that
Yeah,
way.
but then I added one thing to this latest version.
Okay.
So
I
I
wonder
think,
why it came in a different format.
well, because I could never get into the Google Drive because I have too many stupid Google accounts and I don't know how it
Okay.
all
Oh,
works.
I have
And,
a lot too.
it's-
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds fine then, Brad. Kate, you had a comment?
Yeah, I just want to say, I think this is such great work. I was really, really blown away by the thoroughness of this. And I completely see your point about really needing this level of detail. It's possible that, you might want to move it around if you were actually hiring, so that you had, a job description that was hireable from, and then a work plan, because this is kind of both, right? But for what we're trying to do, which is get Marianne recognized and paid for the level of the work that she does, this is just so good. And I was really excited to read it, and it was so clear how much work and thought had gone into it. So to the committee, huge thanks and congratulations. It's really a great piece of work.
Oh, thank you. And Kate, you're absolutely right. We thought about that, and the fact that I think it was Michelle who brought up, like, when it's time to to hire, that there should be a shorter description that kind of brings, really consolidates all these elements, but that this larger description and, like you say, work plan should be also maintained, so that in the course of interviews or whenever the position has to be defended, that this longer detailed description
Yeah.
exists.
Or when we have to onboard, when the trustees have to onboard the next person, right? This is so helpful as an institutional document in
Mhm.
addition to the direct purpose that we need. So I'm
Right.
just really grateful for it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just second that. I was thinking the exact same thing. The amount of time and work and thought that went into this is pretty obvious. And not only does it give accolades to, well-deserved accolades to Marianne for all that she does, but it was just very descriptive. I mean, it's description, but very descriptive and but concise at the same time. I really was impressed as well.
And the other thing is like, we honestly couldn't figure out how to consolidate anything else. Melanie did a great job of moving things around so they were more coherent, but it still felt long. But none of
Right.
us, even after our second meeting, we were like, well, we still don't know what to cut. We need fresh eyes to look at it because it all seems important.
I think we cut like 2.5 sentences. So, and then I added one. So,
Well, I think at this point, it's all necessary on there because of our goal here.
Mhm.
But I do think, we can think later about what we would put out if we're hiring.
Mhm. Mhm.
And any
So-
edits, I mean, we can go through it and,
Yeah, why don't we
step
do
by
that?
step
Just like
and-
section by
Yeah.
section with the time that we have left, and if there's anything that wasn't clear, or if anything, if they're really minor edits, Brad, you could just, email them. But if there's something that really is kind of glaring that you guys don't understand or want us to clarify. So why don't we start the first part, the summary? It's pretty straightforward. Agreed?
I had a suggestion,
Okay.
which is that you've got the categories laid out below
Mhm.
and that you use those in that order for your summary.
Okay.
In other words, that you use the summary as a way to sort of draw people through
Okay.
the categories that you've laid out. I don't know if it'll work, but it might be worth trying.
Okay.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, any other on the first part then, the summary? How about the level of responsibility? That seems very straightforward too.
It did, but I had a thought. I want to
Okay.
make a proposal.
Okay,
I would propose this for the first sentence. The library director serves as the chief executive officer of the library.
Serves what?
The library director serves as the chief executive officer of the library.
You're a CEO, Marianne. A
Does that
so
belong in the
we
summary
definitely
though?
used that language before. So instead of all of this other stuff,
No, in addition, it's the first thing. It is your level of responsibility.
all right.
You
So
have a governing body, us, but you are, accountable for everything at the library. You are the chief executive.
of the
Officer.
library.
Yeah, chief executive officer of the library.
Okay.
It's just a
And then-
proposal. You don't have to agree with me.
Mr. The last thing you said, Kate, you don't what?
You don't have to agree with me,
Oh.
but I think just it's like boom, right off the top gives you the level of responsibility. There's no one above you,
That's
barely
true.
anyone below you, but
Right.
And then you could just, Marianne, you could put the library director is the chief executive officer of the library, comma, serving in conformity with policies, yada, yada. It would be a long sentence, but I don't know.
Yep, that's
Works.
okay.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I like that. That's another way of having people understand the level of professionalism is entailed with the job.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, okay, great.
Now they're gonna have to pay you $100,000.
CEO.
Okay. Any other comments on that next section? No? Should we move on to leadership and governance? Was there anything down there that jumped out at you that was unclear or what you think should be changed?
One place, second bullet, it indents and goes to issues. We don't always meet monthly. I was going to replace that with regular. Every now and then I read this and I thought what was being listed was true a lot of the time.
Mhm.
And if somebody was in a snit and wanted to find something to complain about, they could point to something and say, we don't do that 100%. And
Okay,
that was just the one I
that makes
thought.
point.
sense.
Okay, that makes sense. Regular reports.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay. We could also say which can include instead of includes, because it could be different, I suppose, if it was an unusual month or a short month or something,
Oh, that's a good idea too.
which can include.
okay.
How would you say it then? Issues.
Regular reports to
Issues,
the
regular
Library Board
reports.
of Trustees
Yep.
on library services activities, which can include a
Can
summary and
include, yeah.
analysis of library operations and developments. Because if you were really busy writing a
Right.
big grant or
Right.
something, you might not have the
Yes.
same amount of time to
Right,
do
Yeah.
what you normally do.
right.
I think it includes it myself.
It does, but this is giving us that out if there's a month that, that a grant report is due and I don't have time to pull some data together for the report.
Which
You
is
know,
fine. We don't
yeah,
need it every month
yeah.
really anyway, but
Right. Okay.
I had a question. Are y'all sick of me hearing from me yet?
No,
yeah,
Okay.
go
Oh.
ahead.
Mine was about the word transformational. And my thinking is that while Mary Ann's leadership has been transformational, I don't want another transformational leader if it's going to mean untransforming what Mary Ann's done, to be honest. And so I'm a little concerned about that. That actually, to me, seems more like a description of Mary Ann than a description of the job.
Oh,
Transformational
interesting.
leadership is not always needed. Sometimes, if there's a really good plan in place, you need someone who's just great at executing it, but you don't. So I guess I don't want to lose the powerful, adjective there.
How
But
about
I'm not-
integral? Integral?
It could be. I was
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I was thinking like, experienced or
What about like visionary? I mean, it seems to me that if,
that better. I like
yeah, I
that.
mean,
good.
I think that what we were going for there is that the next library director is going to be working at a brand new library probably, right? And that is going to require that is going to
Yeah, I like
require an
visionary.
extraordinary level of leadership to move the library to a new level of everything. Bigger library, more people served, more programming, there's more staff. I mean, it's just inevitable that it's going to happen. So it doesn't have to be transformational, but the person, because you're right, we don't want the fundamental philosophy of the library and the heart of the library to change. But we do want this person to have a broader vision.
I like visionary.
I like that too. Very
Yeah,
good.
because you
word.
do have to be able to have a vision of what, yeah, as you were saying, if it's a new library, there's hopefully going to be some things that can expand. So
Yeah.
can't be somebody that just can come in and just do the same old thing. Okay, so visionary. Okay, anything else in that section?
Yeah, one more tiny thing. Instead of disability, accessibility, consider accessibility for people with disabilities.
Where was that one?
Where is it?
Oversee, it's the last bullet.
Oh,
in the-
yeah, that
Yep.
doesn't, it seems backwards. You're right. Accessibility. See, there are things we just didn't notice. After you look at something a lot.
We also on purpose added the ALA in other places to also deal with kind of naysayers or people who are like, why is this, important? It's like, well, this is, the American Library Association and other bodies. These are their policies and practices, and we're adhering to that.
Mhm.
Do you want to say the whole thing each time? I mean, I'm seeing it here where you say American Library Association, ALA, and then the next paragraph, American Library Association, ALA.
Yeah, we don't have to. I think you're right. We could just say ALA.
Yeah, just the first time it should be spelled out what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's a
first
good
time
edit.
in that second to last bullet.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, or should we move on to the next section? Okay, program and goal setting. Any comments about that section?
Where are you?
Planning and goal setting. I think it's the
Planning,
next page,
okay.
unless I got my papers mixed up. Is that what's next?
Yeah.
Melanie? Yeah.
Yep.
I had nothing for this. I thought it was spot on as it was.
Melanie, do you think you could put page numbers in? I think that might be helpful.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I just
Forgot about
noticed
that.
that because I like to have the hard copy to write comments on. So.
Marianne, since you're making these edits, right?
Yeah, I can put page
Okay.
numbers
Could you
in.
put, yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
All right, how about the next one? Fiscal planning and management. No comments on that section? Are you guys still reading?
Fiscal planning. Where were we? I've jumped
Fiscal
ahead.
planning and management,
Yeah. I think
second
that's
page.
fine.
CPO. C3PO.
EOCFOC.
Yeah, CFO. We got it all here.
All the O's, basically.
All the officers.
Mhm.
My God. How do you do it anyway? How the heck do you do this?
Oh,
stuff?
you know what I noticed?
What?
I've got Board of Library Trustees, and then I've got Library Board of Trustees.
Oh,
Oh, you can just.
I don't
find
even know which one it
that.
is.
oh, yeah, yeah,
I think we're Board of Library Trustees.
yeah.
So that, Marianne, that will have to be,
Yeah,
every
yeah,
time
I'll
it's
go through
mentioned,
it.
have to be fixed.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go through and
Control H.
Okay, are we done with the fiscal planning and management? Any other comments, or should we move on to technology? Is pretty short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering here if it would be good to just add something about overseeing Zoom programming too. I don't know. It maybe it's just kind of implied, but I think it's another whole gig.
There is a section called User Services and Programming that, where we talk about programming. And it might be good to, add in there, in-person or remote programming.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
And that would add that in. That kind of use of technology for programming aspect.
Right.
So develops and if you jump down there, it's down near the bottom, user services and programming. So the last bullet, develops and implements library services and how did you word it? In-house and,
In-person or remote programming.
yeah, in-person and remote programming. Yeah, in there. That's a good idea.
Okay, good idea, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the technology stuff seems it's broad enough, and you never know what could happen to Zoom. They could go defunct. It's
They
good
could.
it's good not to use, like,
I don't know. I think they're here to stay.
I think Zoom,
Probably.
the term Zoom's going to become like Kleenex
It already is,
or
yeah.
ketchup
Yeah, it's true.
or Google. Google something.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
and remote programming is not going away,
yeah,
right?
right. Yeah, I
um,
don't think it will either.
So, it's, it's not going away.
Okay, and then how about resources and facilities management? You know, Marion, the last one, it says responsible for emergency cleanups. Don't we want to see for overseeing emergency
Yes.
cleanups? And,
Yes.
and otherwise it kind of reads that you're doing it all, even though we know you shovel.
Yep.
You know, you're working on the snow blower thing, so.
Yeah, and I think the challenge is that having language that requires that sort of thing could be specifically like shoveling and stuff like that could make it difficult for some candidates to do the job if it's in the JD. So I don't think that piece should be in here for that reason, even though I know
I
that's
think it has to be in there.
Just
for
how
that
about
reason.
overseeing? It's not saying she's doing it, just overseeing
Because-
it.
Well, she is
Yeah.
doing it though.
I know, well, but here's the thing. It's, whoever has this job has to be able to do it because
okay.
nobody's coming to do it. You know, it's, so either I shovel or my family shovels, or if I'm away on vacation, a volunteer will shovel.
Yeah, you used to have a high school volunteer, I remember. So, you know, if
What if,
say oversee,
Why
it's
do you have to shovel?
up to the librarian to figure out, I guess.
Well,
if
if
they-
we want the snow to be shoveled, you know,
Doesn't
The highway department doesn't do
Becky
it.
shovels at town hall.
Who
And
does? Who
Becky.
does?
Becky, or the police, or, when, so the current town clerk can't shovel, but the past town clerks have shoveled. It's sort of the first person in does the shoveling. And, every once in a while. So once Kristen, who's on the police force, once this year, she shoveled the library.
All right, but then
and-
why do you have in addition to or in the absence of maintenance employees that they aren't there for that?
That's true. Well, let's
Because
see.
shoveling's not
Because,
the
well, it
only-
includes the minor repairs. I think
Yeah,
that's why.
minor repairs.
Right.
I think I can leave this if this is just the way that it has to be.
Yeah,
It's just ableist, and that bugs
Yeah.
the bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Well, that's why I thought if we put the word oversee it, then overseeing emergency cleanup.
Yeah, I mean,
blah,
if we're
blah, blah.
gonna have a visionary leader, maybe we can vision our way into some people who can shovel.
Maybe
Yeah.
we can. Maybe we
Well,
can. And we have been talking about, Becky and I have been talking about buying a snow blower. And we're gonna do it. She's with her money, town hall's money. And, but there need to be two of me and two of her. And so we didn't get to it this year. We'll get to it next year. This was a crazy year. It's, this was.
So I
And
just
a lot of-
want to,
and a
I
lot of
just,
snow.
yeah,
And a lot of snow.
Well, plus COVID, it's, everybody in the world is working harder, right? So, or doing more work. So it's,
Fred, did you have a comment? Were you raising your hand?
I
I
had a
had-
different objection to responsible for. It just, after all these
Yeah.
something S, something S, something S, it's a different form.
Right.
And
Oh, right.
I had in my notes, I had
Overseas.
thought of oversee, which
Overseas,
Lori said,
okay.
or manages. Manages also works. Actually, I wrote it as overseas, as in Europe or, Japan. I have to change my spelling.
I
So
like, you're right. We did fixed a lot of those. Thanks for picking up on that because we didn't notice it. But I like overseas. I think that makes more sense.
I just here, I have a comment that I'll just throw it out there. It's okay. I'm not attached to it or anything, but when you say in addition to or in the absence of, it sounds like whoever these maintenance employees are, I'm not sure who they are, but they're not showing up. Do you know what I mean?
I think it
That's
means
pretty
there
on
are
the
many.
nose, I think, isn't it, Marianne? I'm sorry, Savannah.
That's okay.
So I didn't hear your whole comment, Kate.
Or I didn't hear Savannah's either.
I thought that was on the nose. They don't sometimes, right,
Right.
show up.
Yeah. So there's a janitor who works, a handful of hours a week over at town hall, and he, it's I mean I don't he was doing a really good job or a adequate job maintaining the composting toilet. And then he hadn't been over to the library, sort of, maybe he's been over to the library 3 times now since the pandemic. So and he would maybe vacuum and take the trash out once every 6 weeks. But I had a volunteer who took the trash and the recycling over once a week, and I had a carpet sweeper thing, and we would sweep and use that carpet sweeper thing about once a week. And
So in
so
other words, sounds like it's not anybody's job.
well, it is his job, but his job is kind of, but he's the best janitor we've had. I had been doing some stuff with the composting toilet, and then I finally just needed his help. And so I asked Becky to ask him, and it took a few weeks to get him over there. And then
I think that warrants putting it on a future agenda. Maybe we need to have a checklist or something. We used to have this problem at many of the preschools I worked in where we had to have, because of COVID, you need to have certain things done in a certain way. But we were having problems with their standards about cleaning bathrooms and stuff with little kids and sinks and all of that. We had to put together a list because it wasn't being done
he doesn't do
properly.
any of that. He doesn't clean the
No,
bath.
I'm just saying, but maybe there needs to be
Yeah.
discussion about what the expectations are, and if he had a list, then he could just tick them off,
Yeah, and he's just gonna say,
I don't have time.
yeah, he's not gonna, he's,
Hard time, right?
it's, well, it's not, he's just not gonna respond to that. It's, but the good news is the bathroom is closed to the public, and I don't think anybody thinks the bathroom should be open to the public, a bathroom with no water.
Yeah.
Right.
We certainly don't, where you can't flush the COVID away. So it doesn't need the same level of maintenance. And even we're kind of trying to, to go over to town hall. But every once in a while, somebody does need to use it. So,
All right,
but,
just leave this as it is. It's
yeah, just
fine.
leave it as it is. I mean,
Well-
whoever the library, so listen, a library director in a library with flush toilets is going to have to plunge toilets and snake toilets, it's, and, we do not just wait around for somebody to show up,
Right.
so.
Can I stay? I don't mean to belabor this, but I want to go back to Kate's concern about this being ableist in terms of, being concerned about, especially around the snow shoveling. And so a couple things about that. One is, I don't think that I mean, I understand, Marion, that you have to shovel, like I get that, or someone has to shovel and it has to be done quickly. And I get that, but if you throw out your bag and you weren't able to shovel anymore, the town would have to find a way to deal with that, right? Like they would just have to, right? Like it would be a liability to not have it dealt with and dealt with quickly. They'd have to have someone on call. So I'm wondering if for a future agenda, we actually do talk about that, because that concerns me, that you could also injure yourself when you're
I hurt
shoveling.
my shoulder shoveling.
Like, it's no joke. Like, I've hurt myself badly shoveling. And you're, I get it. Like I used to run a nonprofit. Like you do what you have to do. One time we had a meeting and the sink fell off the wall. I swear to God. And we just got tools and we fixed it. Right? Like you do what you have to do, but it's concerning to me and I'd like to talk about it more. And I
Yeah, I
also
think it's-
We
think
can
that,
definitely talk about it, and
Yeah.
it is. We can definitely talk
Yeah.
about it.
and for the purposes of this, I think it should say oversees emergency cleanup, snow removal and minor repairs and take out the rest, period. Or manages, because that's broad enough to imply that there could be larger, you could end up having to do some of that stuff. I think manages is probably even a better word, because manages implies that there could be, I don't know, it's just a thought. And then
Yeah.
the other thing is, I think that it is worth, and Marion, you would know more about this, but if library directors, as a matter of like hiring policy, are required to have to lift a certain amount of weight, which is, there are positions where that's, if it's
Yeah, so
considered
there's-
essential to the
there's a
position.
thing that goes
we
on
talked
every,
about that because of
Yeah. There's a thing that goes on every town job description that has all of the
Okay, we did.
Yeah,
yeah, we did
things
talk about that.
And
yeah.
I'll go
Yep.
and I'll take that off the other one and put that on this, and it's 30 pounds.
It's 30
Um,
pounds. Okay.
It's 30
Yep.
pounds. Yeah.
Right. So there is like an inherent, you know what I mean? Like there's ableism, and then there's like an inherent amount, like inherent types of, skills and ability that are inherent to a position. So I just wanted to bring that up too. But
Right.
the snow shoveling thing,
Right.
that's,
Can I
Yeah.
insert something?
Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
I agree with the points that we need to talk about this in the future, and I want to take it off for the rest of this meeting because I want to finish this. I want to return to.
Yeah, no, yeah, and we're 5 minutes over and we're almost done, so go ahead.
Yeah. So
Anything
I'm not
else?
sure where we were on the.
I think personnel, right?
Yeah, yes, personnel, page 3. Is everybody okay with staying a little later so we could finish it? Does that sound okay?
Sure.
Does anybody need
Yeah,
to
but
leave?
I have a
Hey,
suggestion for how
Sue.
to proceed.
Okay,
If you have a thing, just say what it is. Because like I've got nothing until knowledge, skills, and abilities.
okay. Anything on this page? Personnel, community outreach, user services, and programming.
Nope.
Anybody have any comments? No? No? Michelle?
I just have one in education, which I think is ahead of where you are.
Yeah, that's the next page. Okay, well, we'll move on to the last page that has collections, knowledge, skills, and ability, education, experience, and license requirements. Okay, was there anything with collections, or is that pretty straightforward?
LA thing again.
Yeah,
I guess. By that time they've forgotten what the letters stand for. Oh, well.
okay, so Kate, you had something for knowledge, skills, and abilities?
Yeah, I just wondered whether we might want to modify the word budgeting, because it's not just you get a budget and you figure out how to spend it. The budget's coming from multiple sources. The budget has regulations in terms of how you manage it. And so I wasn't quite sure how to think about that, but it's budgeting within a municipal context, and maybe that should be acknowledged and maybe not. I don't know.
I read that as wider. When I see budgeting in this context, I mean, I do accounting, so this would be natural for me. And I think of what you're mentioning, budgeting within a town framework, but it's also budgeting for all these grant requests. Every grant request comes with its own set of budget requirements. And maybe that was just me, but I looked at budgeting and I thought of all of that.
Yep, that's fine. It doesn't have to be qualified. I just wanted to pose the question because it inherent in, as Brad says, inherent in the grant writing and the other stuff. There is budgeting required for that, and there's, her money comes from a bunch of different sources. It's complex budgeting, I guess, is what I'm suggesting.
How
But
about if we,
sorry, go
So
ahead.
How about if we
knowledge
said,
of, so where would you put it, Kate?
I don't
Uh,
know. Brad was trying to get in though.
instead of budgeting, what if we said considerable knowledge of all this stuff, planning, comma, town and grant budgeting, just to give it the scope.
Mhm.
I'm putting municipal and grant budgeting.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense because also, I mean, you could think of friends donations to the library. Those are grants essentially, right? From a
Mhm.
from another from a 501c3. So, all right, thanks. I
And
think
it's
that's
in
better.
some, it's a little bit clarified a little bit more back on page 2, fiscal planning and management. So I feel like that's probably why it was more global on this section, because I
Yeah.
feel like we already did articulate a bunch of it previously.
I think that's right. But when you do an ad, this is what you're going to pull out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And the knowledge, skills, and abilities. So
yeah.
I
I'm
thought it
fine
might be
with,
good
I'm
to
fine
have
with
it
the
there.
additions that you guys just suggested. I just want to say that I feel like
Yep,
it is somewhere else too, so.
it is. Yep, thanks.
Uh-huh. Anything else?
I just had a question in the next section, education.
Okay, go right ahead.
There's something in brackets, and I didn't understand why it was brackets.
In education,
Education, the first bullet item, bachelor's
Mhm.
degree, and then bracket, any non-library science graduate. Is this a reference to us, for us?
No, that's
No,
well,
it
yeah.
didn't need brackets.
Okay,
I
I
put
don't know.
brackets, but it could have just been a regular sentence,
Yeah,
but it
I
needs to
guess
be in there.
it has to be in there because if you don't have that ALA certification, then this is what you're required to do
Right.
instead.
so we'll just take the brackets out.
Okay, makes sense. Anything else?
I just wondered about belief in where I don't think you can demonstrate a strong commitment to the role of public libraries without believing in that role, but I'm concerned about requiring beliefs of people.
So should we take out and just have it be commitment to, and take out belief?
Yeah, I would think about it at least, and then I
I'm
might
fine with that.
say, strong commitment to or demonstrated commitment to would be. even
Oh, I
better.
like that, demonstrated.
Let's do demonstrated commitment.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Anything else?
So should the next one be demonstrated commitment too, or should we mix it up and keep it proven?
I think mix it up is fine.
Okay.
Are we done? Thank you, everyone. I really
you.
didn't know if we'd make it through it like tonight, because it's a lot. Okay, so I would say if you have any afterthoughts, go ahead and email them to Marianne, because she can always tweak it a little bit more.
And I'll put it in the
Thank you,
form that the
everyone.
town uses. There's a header And then that paragraph at the end with all of the,
Mhm.
you know, the sort of
Physical requirements. and
personnel
stuff.
thingamajigs.
And then,
Uh,
so the next steps, Marianne, is like, once it's all cleaned up, do we have to approve it and then send it to the personnel committee for their review?
So I don't even know, I guess we could, um, so I guess you could approve it at your next meeting, and then we could just email it to the personnel committee. And with it, so, and I would think that would come from you and Kate.
Mhm.
Um, you know, we've reviewed and updated the job description.
Yeah.
And we want you to, review it and I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So should
we're-
I check
but
with Becky to see who to send it to? I don't even know who's on the
Well,
personnel.
I can
committee
find
anymore.
out who to send it
It's
to.
on the
Okay.
website.
Is it?
It's on the
Okay.
town website. Yeah, they've got an email address or something. I was trying to figure this out before last time we were sort of work.
Well, the person I had emailed before isn't doing it anymore, I think.
Yeah, but I think the committee has an email address or
Okay.
something.
Okay.
So
they have to approve
are we approving it now?
No, the next meeting.
Okay,
'cause I think
next
we-
meeting, okay.
Yeah, it needs to be cleaned up first.
Yep.
Does
thought we might be
personnel need to
approving
approve it?
As amended.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it
Right.
has to go to the personnel committee. Okay, so for the next meeting, we'll take one more quick look at it, if we can get, if there's any way to get it to people beforehand, so they can just make sure that it looks like what we talked about. Then Kate and I can email it to the personnel committee. We can just talk some other time about that. And then what else do we have to do?
The regular approvals.
Yeah. Direct
When's
regular
town
director's
meeting?
report.
Town meeting is Saturday, June 12th.
Okay,
Yeah.
we don't have to prep for that quite yet.
Not yet.
But we might do a little because the next one's gonna be pretty close. Well, I guess we could wait till May.
And I think that it's gonna be just as contentious as last year. That's my guess.
I expect so.
Maybe not for us, but I mean the whole budget probably.
Could be.
There is some good news. So state revenues are not down. And so state aid to cities and towns will not be down. And so that's, that's good budget news for the town.
Absolutely.
What
Okay.
we've got for next meeting is agenda is approvals and then this approval in addition to the normal approvals, and that's it. That's a
First,
pretty,
to talk about town meeting, I guess.
Should we
Do we
talk
have
about
that?
recruiting someone else to
Let's
run
do
for
that.
trustee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we probably
Well,
should.
we need to do that before,
Mhm.
since nomination papers are due at the end of April. So when is our next meeting?
That's a great question.
that matters.
Did we pick him on already?
The standard.
So the
date would be-
19th is Patriots Day.
Can we do 12?
I can do the 12th.
Yeah, I can do the 12th, not a problem. Anybody else?
I can do the 12th.
I
Brett,
can do the
Brett-
12th. Yep.
Brett, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do the 12th. Okay.
And Kate, do you need more signatures? I don't know if we answered that.
No, I'm all good because Marianne rocks and did it at the tag sale.
Yeah, we did them at the tag sale, which was a blast. So
I can't
I
go with
totally,
the few-
I
came up
totally
with a
missed
few
the existence
items.
of the tag sale.
You what?
I totally missed any existence of any tag sale.
Oh, I knew about it.
just completely missed it.
I went with Meryl Mandel and we were kind of late because we both forgot about it. But we both left the thing, so, and signed Kate's papers.
How much
Okay.
money did we raise?
so they've asked us not to say that publicly.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
got it.
Okay. But it was so at every library event that I've ever had, there's always been somebody new. And at this one, there were just gazillions of new people
Oh,
meeting
cool.
each other 6 feet apart wearing masks, and so like young families seeing each other and saying, oh yeah, we moved in August,
Mhm.
and then people who moved in sort of in the year before the pandemic. And so we were just starting to get to know them. It was just like people just came out because it was a place to come out to. And it was a lovely thing. And because it was, a 5-hour day, there were never very many people there all at once, but people came, they lingered, they had a nice time. It was mostly outdoors, so it felt very safe. So I was really glad to have done it. So, yeah.
All right. I think we're ready to adjourn then. Okay, I guess we'll
Yeah.
adjourn.
Again, thank you to the committee. Amazing work.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful
Melanie did
job.
a lot of the work. So kudos to Melanie. She was great organizing it. But it was fun working on it. We were very productive.
Yes, actually, thank
Okay.
you, Melanie, for all the work you
Yeah,
put into
She did. She put a lot
it.
into it.
Absolutely. It was a team effort. And, at some point, reading everything that you had done, I just kind of felt mad, and I was fueled by anger. I was just like, don't know what the library director does? I'll tell you what the library director does. So that kind of got me through a good evening of working on that.
Yes, good. Yes.
So,
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We'll see you
All right,
next
thank
month.
you.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay. Yep.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.